a little
I think
bit.
kids should just be exposed to more, like maybe like more goal setting and more personal development in high school. You know, when
Would you say that's how much of that is on teachers and education? How much of that is on parents? Because, for example, for me, I'm pretty blessed. Like, my dad's always been very since ages. He's like high school time, whatever. He's like, you think of a business you'd want to start. Think of something. I'll put some money in for you. He's always been like that. Like, even now we're sitting in my dad's offices, right? So it's like, that's always been his mentality. It's always been his thing. I know not everyone's parents are like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I think it should be a school thing. So it's such a bigger, broader way to change it. You know, change the whole society. Because if it's parents, a lot of parents are not as educated as their kids going to be in the next 30, 40 years. So it should. Maybe our teachers aren't as educated as they should be. They're going through that. They're literally going through the whole thing. So
they're going through exactly what it is we're talking about, which is this perfect employee mentality, which means that
that's so true because they came up through the system
guys,
and now they're just
my head
we not gonna drop a bomb for that.
I don't know. We just do it. Hey, both at the same time.
Yeah, I needed that. But that's facts
though.
Oh,
snap.
Okay, so example, one of the teachers were actually like low-key business-minded bad.
Yeah.
Right?
So should you be bringing people from the outside? Should schools be employing people from the outside, teaching one class a month on how to expose them to other places?
Right? Because the thing is, they don't, I'm not going to assume, but I'm assuming that they don't have experience in this.
Do you hear what he said?
I'm not going to assume, but I'm assuming. I like that. But
like the business teacher in your high school.
Yeah. He studied
100%. I reckon 1 out of 10 business teachers would have a business.
Actually,
have exposed to business.
And
that's crazy.
I was just studying.
Which means you're only teaching what you've learned
on paper.
On paper.
And the thing is, you can kind of tell if
that's like when you see fat PE teachers. It's like they have it down pat. Like, this is the muscle. This is this. Have you ever worked out these muscles?
They don't even know how it feels like to work it. like
bicep.
Like you're right. Like, not even necessarily overweight or anything. They're just not fit. They don't look fit. But they're teaching PE. It's just like, I understand the fundamentals and everything, but I've actually never done it. And it's the same with like all these teachers. Like, I understand it from books, but if you're gonna talk about experience, I have no clue. I don't know anything about it.
It's not their fault.
It's not their fault. It's not their fault. But the thing is, sometimes we want to talk. So it's hard for them to try to bring their experience into it when they're never going through it. They can only teach you what they know, which is just the books, and you're gonna walk out of there just knowing the books.
Like
you know what I mean?
Remember, go back to class. Remember, like high school, your teacher literally had the same book as you in front of him. And they had the same page, and they were reading from it. So you literally.
It's actually
just,
funny.
No, it's facts. It's facts.
Imagine they took away books, then teachers teach.
Yeah.
Oh my days!
Don't challenge them, please. Don't challenge them.
The funniest in maths, the back has all the answers. And then you'd be like, "Oh, miss, how do you do this question?"
The teacher.
832. That's the answer. No, but how? Don't worry.
But everything, I think you can know clearly when a teacher knows how to teach.
Yeah.
Or
like the old school teachers, you can see the difference.
You can see the difference.
Remember the math teacher? What was her name? Are we letting her say names?
I can't remember. I don't know which one you think.
No, are we letting her say names on here? Or?
I mean,
Armstrong?
Yeah. She was old school, and you could see she knew what she was talking about.
Yeah.
But then other teachers would be like on the books reading the question. You know what I mean? It should be all on the board.
Yeah.
Bro, my methods teacher was like that as well. I went to a totally different high school, obviously. All on the board would go. She'd write her own notes. She's like, "Nah, don't worry about the notes in the book. That's trash. Don't worry about that." She'd write her own notes. She'd care about every single student. She called 100%. Me at times. How are you going with this? Because she knew I was like the worst in the class.
Don't say her name, but
she's an old lady.
It's cool.
She's retired.
Like we had Mr. Jones for PE. You could see he had experience.
Yeah.
Like now he's like in AFL environment. He's an actual coach.
Yeah,
and you could see his experience relating to coming into class. He was speaking from experience and like stuff like that. That's awesome. Like if a teacher preaches what he's like, what they actually do. That's awesome.
And I've seen that vary from subject to subject. Like I go to one class, a teacher just looking at the book, right? And I go to my next class, they don't look at the book, but they'll say chapter 1 is saying this, and they're right on the board.
Those were always the teachers that like like that's how you could distinguish, like those honestly the ones that were practicing it for real in the real world are the ones that you like the most,
like
were
it.
the most interesting,
Yeah.
everything. Even at uni, like with marketing, because I did marketing management, it's like the guys that actually had all these stories about, oh, this is when I had this one lady and she was like, oh, I used to work for Crown Lager and then we worked for all these other beer companies and all this stuff. She had stories on stories on stories.
Yeah.
We had this old Israeli guy and he was like telling us about how he had purchased certain phone numbers for his business because it was easy to remember, and like all these little details. Most interesting semester of my life. And then there'd be the ones that it's like, this is what I learned in uni.
Yeah.
Let me teach you
And
now.
then let me teach
And
you.
it's like,
Get
get me out this lecture.
and they just went straight to teaching.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I love? It's like, let's say a business teacher is teaching business. Like also they say, I'm passionate about business. So I'm teaching business. Yeah.
You can see passion.
Yeah, and then I was sitting there like, can you tell us about the time where you started a business? Ah, wait, what? like,
Yo,
like,
I've
What subject's
never
this?
thought-
Lunchtime.
we just started class. Like,
I've
but if
never
you were
thought
like thinking about it, it's like, and then I'm thinking, I was like, bro, can you be passionate about something,
But if you don't actually do
but
it,
you don't actually do it? Like, can you be passionate?
make sense.
It doesn't make sense to me. Like, how can I be passionate about teaching you business and I don't do it myself? I don't run a business.
Yeah.
I don't help small organizations.
That's true. That's like anytime I've ever seen soccer coaches, they play soccer,
Yeah.
right? Like they're part of a team as well. Like whether it's a
Woo!
Recreational.
Carry on, try it.
recreational,
Recreational, yeah.
yeah, or futsal, or like any, like they're part of something as well
You have
because
to
they
be part
actually
of-
love what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even for me, it's like when I watch like I watch a lot of NBA talks and everything. Like half of those guys on it, they've played. They played in the NBA, so they can kind of talk about the different tactics.
Yeah.
No one comes on and say, okay, they should have done that. But hold on, you don't even play that sport. You're not even from that sport.
it's like if you were like, you know, a pretty average player and you tell LeBron, oh, he did this thing wrong. Like, you have no right to say
yeah,
it.
you have no
yeah.
right. Yeah.
It can be entertaining, but it doesn't hold
Yeah.
weight. That's
Yeah.
like Skip Bayless, right?
Yeah,
on
that's-
ESPN. It's
So I
like
was thinking-
I'm interested to listen, right? Stephen A. Smith, same thing. Like it's interesting, your character, all this stuff, but it's
But-
actually much more insightful when I listen to Shaq or Jalen
Yeah.
Rose or whatever.
And I think you could tell like, TNT, yeah.
yeah,
Yes, I think you could kind of tell like when someone actually knows their stuff.
Yeah,
They're talking about the taxes and that. Like Skip Bayless and A. Smith, they got good. You know, they had a whole conversation.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
so you
they-
say you want to,
they-
yeah, they
they
tell you.
pride-
like they
listen to-
clearly
but
understand the
thing is,
sport by the book.
by the book. That's what it is. By the book. They always want to go by the book, right? But then after that, I remember last time when they had Matt Barnes, one of the NBA players,
Yeah.
came on and was like,
Oh, I actually watched that one.
that was a
He
good
was
interview.
gone. Oh, no.
And even Mark Cuban as well, because Mark Cuban owns the basketball team, Dallas Mavericks, right?
Yeah.
And he was going head to head with one of the other guys that obviously goes by the book. And it's like, that's the problem with you. You go by the books. You know what I mean? I teach this. And I was like, man, that's game over right there, bro. And I think watching that, and I didn't deep it then, but thinking about it now, it happens right now. That
relates to everything. Yeah,
relates
like,
to,
in terms of what I do, like there's people, you know, buy the books, like nutritionists. You know, there's nutritionists out there. People tell me, oh yeah, what you do is what blah blah blah, but they're not practicing it. I'll be like, yeah, show me someone that you've helped lose weight, someone that you've helped gain weight.
oh,
And they'll go, oh nah, I learned at uni. It's literally what they're telling me is what they learn at uni.
yeah.
And there's this perception of what you get taught at uni, everything is right.
correct.
And how funny is it that uni edition, like books change editions here and there
Yeah,
because
all the
new
time.
information
Yeah.
or
New
new
information.
revelations come.
Outdated.
Yeah.
So it's always changing.
I know this one guy. He does like heaps of weightlifting, powerlifting. I'm pretty sure we're not strong guy. He's 21 years old, and he's studying like nutrition stuff at uni. And he's literally always on his story talking about, this is the BS we learned in class today. This makes no sense. Why are the lecturers teaching this? Like every week there's
Yeah.
something about this, and I'm like, oh, I actually kind of like that he's studying it and going like full
Pushing it,
critiquing
yeah.
it as well,
Yeah.
not just. you
Shows
know,
it's gonna come out
sucking up
with
whatever
the
they say,
actual,
yeah.
yeah. With
Yeah,
okay,
because I literally have people telling me, "Oh yeah, what you like? This is not good." Blah blah blah. When like I'm not a nutritionist, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a doctor, whatever. But I know that the company I'm with has like 300 like scientists, nutritionists, like good, like big
Yeah.
dogs. You know what I mean? The ones that are like really good at what they do. And I've got this person that just come out of university in Australia, has never been in the field before.
They want to talk. Yeah.
All they know is,
But I paid 60K for this degree, so
and they just want to talk and say this. They have opinions on things. Like, there's nothing wrong with what they're doing. I've got like 100%, like they're doing a great thing, but I just have a problem with people having opinions on something when they have no proof to back themselves on what they're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I never go out and say, oh, you should be doing this and that when I know that person's doing better than me. Like, you know, if I know this person's getting better results than me, I'll go, oh, what are you actually doing?
What are you doing?
Can I learn from you?
And I think that's where a lot of people, like, they don't go wrong, but that's a lot of people where they make the mistake.
Yeah.
They don't approach in terms of, I see you help, because I see you help a lot of people, man.
Yeah.
You feel what I mean? But they're not coming to you in terms, or some people, they're not coming to you in terms of, how are you doing it? Can you help me?
Yeah.
But they want to come in a negative way.
Yeah.
They want to be like, you shouldn't be doing it this way. You should be doing it this way. And I think it goes back with what Danny was saying. Is because, let's say they came out of university and apparently this is the right way to go on about things.